audios, the videos, the connections, what they were talking about, what they screamed and yelled when something happened. So, and a lot of that stuff I was able to get copies and keep in my own archive, which if had been known, as recent as 5 or 10 years ago, they were really searching, trying to find out who had copies and records of communications and things that we've discovered and what we found. And of course, outside of my office and outside of doing what we're doing, we're all learning when we're saying, well, do you know what happened? No, I don't know what happened. Not my responsibility. If I wound up with some good pictures, it might be because I didn't know I had those. Okay. All right. Now I got in trouble with talking like that. I know. Anything happens to me now is because I told the truth.
Well, so yeah, a lot of us are in that position that if anything happens to us, it's because we told the truth.
That's right. That's right. Now, Daryl, were you born back when we did that? Because you're the youngster here.
I was actually trying to find myself out. My mama was I even thought of? No, I don't think I was thought of. I'm leaving that one alone. Leaving that one
okay.
Alone.
Yeah, well, Daryl's mama was working for the CIA doing data entry. So she was doing a similar but not the same job. Also archiving.
Okay. Yeah.
So we have basically archivist family here. So did they ever let you go into space?
I'm sorry, you said who let me go into space?
Did they ever let you go into space?
I got you. Well, actually, my background was when I went into the Marine Corps, 1956, 57. That's where I learned to fly, and fastest I ever got was Mach 2 and F4 and F4s. But with NASA, my job wasn't to do that. Now, to land on the moon, I had to be on the Earth side and be sure I was giving the right information and mission control to be sure they knew that the aircrafts were working, spacecraft were working. The lunar modules was with Grumman. I was with the Grumman Aerospace Corporation, and they hired me as a civilian astronaut to be there to do the testing on it on Earth, be sure everything was working good before we ever went to the moon. We actually went into Earth orbit with a lunar module as well, and tested it out. Once we knew that the spacecraft was going to work fine, then we could step back and then let our crew, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Jack Swikert, that was the landing crew. So at any rate, it gave me the opportunity to be right up front with what was going on and to keep my ears open that I could hear things that other people couldn't hear. So we'll go from there.
Okay. So do you have some good stories to tell us about the testing?
About the testing or about what? Kind of pinpoint it.
I'm not sure what all the proper terms are, and I'm trying to give you room to talk.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, I'm sorry. I'm trying here.
I'll say, oh girl. I mean, no.
Yeah.
Whichever.
So you said that you were on the crew that tested them in Earth orbit before they went out.
Correct.
Were there any interesting stories about that?
Oh, well, I guess the only thing really was that once we got back to Earth and we got all the equipment material brought over to the Lunar Receiving Laboratory, and this is where the flight crew had to go at the LRL. You're beginning me to remember some of these acronyms. LRL is the Lunar Receiving Laboratory, and they were in their quarantine for 12 or 14 days to be absolutely certain that they didn't bring back any virus and stuff from the moon, the lunar surface. Because what people don't realize is once our crew picked up all the samples and materials and things that they could find that was of interest. Now, mind you, our astronauts became excellent geologists. Before we went to the moon, we went to some of our best geological research centers and places on the Earth where they could find rocks and identify what they were looking at. So the crew had become good geologists. They were already fine rocket pilots and jet pilots, and then we had to get them trained up to become good geologists, so they didn't throw away the good rocks. They'd keep the good ones and not throw the other ones away. So it was quite a great experience to be part of that, and it's actually been a long time, but I did have the privilege of going in and sitting down with Buzz, and he remembered me quite well, and I appreciated that because we got to know the guys in private, I should say.
Yeah.
So that's important. So you know who you can trust. Whoops. Hello.
Yeah, that always helps, knowing who you can trust and who you really shouldn't. And
I'm drinking soda just so they know.
it's okay. We drink a lot of things on the show. I tend to do coffee or tea. My producer here tends to go with more hard stuff. I think
depends on how bad.
I think it's worse right now from the can. But yeah.
It's the Unilever Corporation's traditional lager 2021. Thank you very much.
Now, you have a napkin or tissue wrapped around your can?
No,
okay. Oh, we're going to have some fun and enjoy it, and we'll get down to the truth and everything that's been going on. I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
Well, Ken, I have a question. What is the truth anymore? What is the truth? I mean, I've been trying to figure out, as Penny has been trying to figure out, as many of the American public has been trying to figure out, and the world public also. Are there little purple pimple popping kids on Mars or the moon?
No.
Okay.
No.
No pigs at all.
No pigs? Not even a chicken?
I answered that question the way you asked it.
I got you.
Your
turn, Penny. Maybe you can get the answer.
I will throw one thing in here that you probably have never heard before, and this happened to our crew. Let me think. On Apollo 14, I believe it was, and this was communications with the crew while they were out on the lunar surface looking for things. And one of the astronauts made a comment about, "Wow, did you see that?" And they were on the side of a crater, pretty close, and privately we heard that they were being watched. They said, "We are being watched," and it was a craft that had landed. This was a large crater, mind you, not just a little dimple. This is like several miles across, big impact, and that they were being observed and monitored and watched not only by us and mission control and all, but by them. They're willing to be sure, and that's going to be important if we get around and we want to talk about that, about where we are now as far as direct contact with extraterrestrial. We'll find out.
Okay. There are people out in the community who think that these were all faked because Stanley Kubrick did record some scenes that were put out to the public. So because some of them were faked, the public is assuming all of them were. Now, what can you say about that?
One, just be sure, mind you, too many years of rockets and bombs in the Marine Corps, and then with the spacecraft stuff, my hearing is a little bit difficult, and I forgive me if I have to say, ask you to repeat something a little bit. Now they say that we did what?
They're saying that because Stanley Kubrick filmed some of the scenes in a studio, that it was all faked.
Okay. Okay, that's a good question, and the reason why they can jump up and down and say, "See, we told you so," is that when you are doing a communications where you're talking about 250,000 miles away on the moon, so you've got to be sure that you have good communication. And sometimes the guys will get a little funny and they'll say things to be sure. Okay, did you get that? Did you see what we just saw? You say something like that, and that's all that these people that want to try to claim, oh, you never went to the moon, you never did this, blah 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 blah. If they no, I can't use those words. If they had any
go ahead.
On this show, you can pretty much say what you want.
Okay. Now, the people back on Earth are that, first of all, were not even born. Okay. Probably weren't even in a dream in the eye or the ears of their mom or their dad, have absolutely no understanding of what we were doing and how we managed to do it when we went to the moon. So the answer is there's communications and there was live activity, everything going on. And then you have people that were joking with each other and say, wow, that one looks like a green one to me. And they were joking about a rock. So what happens? The people that were listening to it on their own little, by the way, we didn't have personal computers back in those days when we went to the moon.
No,
this all came about. This came about because we as Earthlings got the benefit of the high technology that it took us to be able to get to the moon and get back. So you're going to run into people all the time that say, "Well, I heard them say that." So they were telling a lie of this, that. 99.9% of the time, everything you heard was absolutely correct. There were a few times when jokes and things, and there were some times when they did see a craft or something on the side of a giant crater, which we did see, that wasn't ours. If it wasn't ours, it wasn't Russia's, it wasn't Europe's, it wasn't America's spacecraft. It was something else that landed on the side of the crater, watching everything we did. You have to be part of the team that was in there, and the ones that were there. I mean, Buzz and Neil and that was 11, but then, and right now my memory, I'd have to get my charts out to be sure I could name all of the flight crews on each one of the missions. But
yeah, I used to know all their names too, and over the years, other information has pushed it out. But I was a freshman in high school when we first landed on the moon, and I was taking Earth space science, and my teacher would go rock hunting with the test pilots from Edwards. So I can verify for the audience that yes, these test pilots were being taught geology because my high school geology teacher was teaching them.
That's true. That is true.
Was one of the test pilots that came and joined our class one day, just sat in the back and was listening while we went through physics. And so yes, I can verify that the test pilots were being taught geology in 1969, 1970. So this is very consistent with what you've said. So
we've got that one stamped as being factual and true.
Yep.
There you go. And that's on the positive. The truth side is that there were a lot of people involved.
There were.
Like you were in school, but then we got the information out to colleges and universities and things as fast as we got them at NASA. There was nothing we were trying to hide. Well,
you were trying to hide the ships that we're watching.
Yes, I was talking about that. And I can't. Oops, hello. I have an ant that made it into my office here. I hate to have to destroy something, but it happens that way sometimes. being an old Marine, I have to carry out orders, right?
It's a PTSD moment, man. You start to think everything's an alien. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see them everywhere. Aliens.
I'm going to be checking that necklace thing there and that what kind of an alien thing you have hanging around your neck.
Oh, mine. That's a sea.
Oh, there you go.
It's a Sia car and it's got an amethyst in it.
I love it. I think it's great. Me, I'm in a just standard SOS t-shirt. You know what SOS is, right?
Yeah, same old shit.
No, I'm the same old stuff. You caught me off guard on that one. Gee whiz.
Hey, we cuss on this show. You know, you don't have to be polite here.
I can't.
I'm really admiring the background of your area there, Penny, because I like that with the lunar surface.
This is Earth with the sun rising over it.
There it is. That's right. I can see that. Oh yeah. No, it's fine.
It's from.
That's Europe. There's Italy, and there's the Mediterranean. Marvelous.
It's sunrise over Europe, and it's from the space station.
You look really nice today, Miss.
Well, thank you, Daryl.
Yeah, could you tell us the temperature over there in Italy, please? Could you?
I'm not in Italy, unfortunately.
Wrong country.
I'm in the mother lode of California, and it is over 100 degrees here, Fahrenheit. So it's not quite as hot as it is in Maryland or probably New Mexico, but we know it's summer.
It is. And when my wife walked out, she turned off the fan.
Oh no, she didn't.
She did.
Okay.
Because I think she thought she made too much noise. You know, I'm looking on that door that's open. Looks like you have the side of a flying saucer. Nice curvature from behind your door, and then up above your head, this alien's wagging a tail and stuff. I love it.
Oh, that alien, that furry cat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back and get serious, or whatever you.
Okay.
I will.
Let's get.
I'm wide open.
Okay. You brought up the ship on the side of the crater that was watching the Apollo 11 guys. I blinked on his name. There was a recent whistleblower from Tompkins.
Yeah, it was
Tompkins, William Tompkins. And he had a book about basically Solar Warden. And he came out with graphics about these ships on the side of the crater that were looking down on the Apollo 11 guys.
right.
And so basically you and he are telling the same story here, which confirmation. I'm finding that a lot of the people who are telling the truth are confirming each other.
And part of it is because we've outlived the problem. One of the things that happened to me, because we were always told we were not allowed to take anything home. That's why we had our laboratories, and we had our offices there in the space centers at the different locations where we were. And once fact of that, it was right after that event where the comment was made. This was on 11, I think it was, when they said they're on the crater, they're watching us. It was right after that they went around to most of us that had our own copies of mission reports and what we were trained and told we were supposed to do, came to our homes and came and said, we're supposed to collect all of your notes and records and things. And I said, I didn't have anything. Just was what in my office at work. And they did. The government people that were supposed to be security and go and collect any information that they did not want to get out to the public worldwide. So yeah, fortunately, I'm not the only one that was able to save some of the information. I think there was some gal named Penny Bradley or something like that saved some stuff. At any rate, now didn't I come over to you guys' office outside of the Lunar Receiving Laboratory where you did have a, remember they had a trailer, and they had a couple of trailers put together where they were doing processing of some of the samples privately.
I was still in high school then.
Okay.
So I have heard that I had alters who were active, but this version of me doesn't have those memories.
Okay. And once they've messed with some of us, we don't have much memories left. We have to be careful. So,
yeah.
I don't know where I left off, but I wasn't the only person that did keep their own private, personal law, because it was all available to all of us at the time. We didn't know any better other than, well, I got to take that home and get it prepared for the meeting I've got tomorrow. And that's how we wind up with a lot of the things that you were able to, when you started coming along, you were able to get copies of communications between some of the scientists as well as some of the astronauts. And
so there wasn't the high level of security that everybody thinks.
Not really. You're quite right, because we were all so excited about what we were doing and going to the moon and coming back. The average person really didn't think, I don't think the average person considered the fact that what our position was, what we did, might have an effect upon the world, and where we stand on this planet by ourselves, or are we here from another source? And we've reached, human earthlings have reached a point now where psychologically we're ready to accept the fact we're not the only intelligent beings in the universe or in all. So that's why some people, myself and others, are coming forward with information or experiences that we had back in the olden days.
Yeah.
So we're ready now. I said
it's looking back on this, and that was 50 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, it was 50 years ago. And we've got a whole population that wasn't even born then.
That's right.
And they've been lied to so much by so many different people that it's part of why I'm bringing forth eyewitnesses like you are to talk about this, so that people can hear from the source.
And I'm proud of the fact that I'm not the only one now. I really don't know where we could go with that, other than the fact that we as Homo sapiens earthlings are just now maturing to a point where we can handle the fact that we're not the only intelligent beings in the universe, and that it's in, because if you go all the way back, my gosh, when we first started flying in airplanes, people were panicked, couldn't believe that they could get in something and take off and fly around like a bird. And then we got to where we got flying in airplanes around the world, and we got our rockets flying, and then we got to the moon. So slowly but surely we've been chipping away at the fact till we can take our humans place in the universe and not have to go into to the nut house where
panic
where
moment.
Yep. So and the biggest problem we have, and I think you probably have run into that, so many of those that were right up front with what we were doing, going to the moon, how we got there, what did we see on the way, what did we see when we got there, what did we hear and see on the way back, have passed away.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part.
I've been watching a lot of that, and some of them have passed away before their time.
And unfortunately, the knowledge, personal inside information, that goes with them.
Yeah.
And that's, I found out a decade or so ago, is that if you're asked questions, you need to tell the truth and get it out there, because if you don't, it'd be amazing how many people had either a virus or they had a car accident or what have you, and they no longer exist. And part of it has been, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I had a good friend had a heart attack riding his bike home from work. And when they did the autopsy, they found poison in his system. So, and he wasn't even an eyewitness. He was someone who was doing hypnosis type healing on people. You met him at Stargate in 2018. He was one of the speakers there.
Can you say who it was?
I'll tell you after the show.
Okay, that sounds fine. Because I'm sure I know the person.
But yeah, he was a good guy. So this is an ongoing problem that we're having with people who are even just affiliated with us, are having incidences that are suspicious in origin. It's really affected me this last year because there have been 5 people on my friends list on Facebook that have died from either outright murdered or mysterious. So it's something that's been kind of eating at me.
I can tell.
So
that's one of the reasons why, and I guess I should say I appreciate the fact that you wanted to have me on your program, is that the safest way to be is to come out with the facts and the truth, because then would be worse if they were to bump us off now. So my position has been, tell the truth, Ken. I mean, yes, that's why I was willing to join you folks on the program, and I'm just nothing but the truth. So help me.
That was why I came forward, was I was being shot at with energy weapons. And when I got hit the 3rd time, I talked to my partner, Lou, because it would affect him as well. And I said, Bill Cooper said, if you know they're going to kill you, to hide in the spotlight, because then if they do kill you, it verifies what you said.
Right.
So
I thank you, and I'm for asking me to be on your program.
Well, okay. I'm glad you were able to come.
I'll just tell him to check with Daryl. He's the one that's keeping all the information. He's not listening. He's going to find out.
Daryl,
oh, goody.
It almost looks like he's frozen there. But when you were testing the lunar module and you were in orbit, did you see any other than Earth items?
Okay, just to be sure that they don't come up and say, well, Ken never went into orbit in the lunar modules, blah, 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 blah. That's true. What I did testing at the Lunar Receiving Laboratory, as well as over at Mission Control Data and Photo Lab, where we actually tested the lunar modules. Now, Grumman is the one that was responsible for building and designing the lunar module. And I had more. I wished I had it handy right now. I could show you my spacecraft pilot's logbook. And we all, just like good pilots, you have your pilot's logbook, and you log every minute you spend inside of a craft, be it an aircraft, jet, or a kite. In this case, the lunar module. This lunar modules. I have all of that information laid down. So I had your question. You're going to have to. Sometimes it happens like this. I get stuck. Where was I?
Okay, you were aiming for, did you see other than terrestrial craft or beings or?
Okay, right. Now, so to keep them from getting on, I was never in the lunar modules when they landed on the moon. I was in Chamber B, testing it in the vacuum chambers to be sure it was safe and everything before we ever took the first one, went into Earth orbit. And then that was Apollo. See, there we go. I can't even remember which one it was. See, 11 was the first one to land on the lunar surface. So Apollo 9 was the first one we did at full vacuum chamber testing in chamber B. And so I was involved with all of that. So with the Grumman. So I was earthbound at the time.
You were never in orbit.
No.
Okay.
Not in that machine.
Well, that opens up a can of worms.
I was afraid. If my mother was still around, she would say, "Don't tell Ken." He might. If I'm not told to keep my mouth shut on something, what's the problem about talking about it? Okay, we'll go from there.
I can see that. So, what were you ever in Earth orbit?
With NASA and Apollo and stuff, I have never been in Earth orbit.
In what other ways were you in Earth orbit?
You know, this I would enjoy.
Lou's sitting back here cracking up because he's
I'm going to wake Daryl up with this because he looks like he's having a good nap. Okay. Yep.
Okay,
there. See, somebody woke him up.
Hold on. I have been here laughing and answering questions and laughing still.
There you go.
Something? I got to ask you another question.
Okay, now, good. And I won't answer hers. I'll answer yours. And then
okay. Well, I feel honored. Oh, see, Ken, he likes me better. He likes me. Okay. Ken,
so far, I like you.
Okay, so far. Thank you, Professor. Ken, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Do you think those foreign bacterial that are flying out on those meteorites that are landing on the Earth is going to create a scenario where the invasions of the body snatchers will be real?
Yeah, let me be sure I understand the question here because we're kind of having too much fun on how we ask our question.
We got to ask them the right way. Do you believe that the foreign bacteria that's found in space, that when they're entrapped on those meteorites or little pebbles that come, what do you want to call them, from space onto the Earth, they're not destroyed. They're actually still here on the planet. And those foreign bacteria, which is called alien bacteria, can create what we have known as the phenomena called invasion of the body snatchers. I ask you the question.
Yes, you did. Okay. You're covered. Wow. Okay. Oh, man, you were ready for it, aren't you? Are we ready? You walk around places, you see a rock, you pick up a rock, that rock may well have come to the Earth through space and through our atmosphere and landed, and you picked up a rock, and you're going to say that you're going to die because you picked up a rock that came from the moon? No. There are rocks, there are samples and things which could have survived. You got to understand, whenever a meteor comes into our atmosphere, it burns up into a high enough temperature that any of the viruses and things get burned up. Okay. Now, yes, there have been viruses and things that have been brought into our planet, and we as humans, we have developed our own vaccines, our own ability to counteract against those. That's why we've survived as Homo sapiens on this planet. So it's kind of a double answer for your question. Whoever they is, isn't trying to wipe out Earthlings on this planet, unless maybe there are other Earthlings from other solar systems. Anyway, he got that one. He got that one.
We got to bleep that last part out, sir. We have to bleep that last part out. We cannot say that the other Earthlings on another solar system. Hold on. NASA, what did you say? NASA said that you have to bleep that. Okay, bleep. Okay, you can't say that there are humans out there. Okay, sorry. All right, continue.
I've been saying there are other humans out there for what, 5-6 years now. So it's okay with me if Ken says that.
Okay. Hold on. NASA. No. Let me talk to DOD. He ain't revealing nothing. He just said there are other humans out there. Sorry.
Wow.
You didn't know.
How long have you been doing this with him?
I've been doing this show since last August with him.
Wow. Okay.
We work together well, don't we?
Yeah. I am honored to be with such a well-informed crew.
Got a smile.
Oh boy.
God, I am stone cold sober and I'm sitting here giggling. So, okay.
And I finished now this is not an advertisement, but I finished my Dr. Pepper, put aside. Now I'm drinking just straight water.
Okay.
The company name? Oh, I can't see it again. Can you flash it one more time?
Yeah. Here we go. Right there. Yeah, got it.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Okay. So now we can bill them for product placement.
Do you two work together on a regular basis?
Yeah, I have a show once a week.
We talk almost every night.
My gosh.
She's rubbing off on me, Ken. She's rubbing off on me. This is her fault.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Pull up my pants. It's running deep.
Did you hear Lou?
Benny, you realize how long it's going to take. And I hope you have an audience enough that are enjoying the fact that we're getting together the first time in how many years you think it has been since we actually were face to face? And unless this was your mother, and I'm one of the little guys.
I met you at Contact in the Desert 2018, and then between 2018, and between then and the Stargate conference in Albuquerque in October 2018, you did some research on me, and I showed up at this conference, and you were just totally bubbling, and you had watched 5 hours of my videos, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe anybody sat through 5 hours of my stuff. And you had been gushing about me, and when I met Randy Kramer, he says, I already know your story, Ken told me. I'm like, alrighty. So I was honored that you had gone to that much trouble to research me, and I stayed in touch over the years.
And we're doing it again.
We're doing it again. So
there you go.
We were on a couple of panels. One of them, there was a person who talked way too fast and too high pitched, and most of it I couldn't understand what she was saying. And you and I both got annoyed with her.
Now, was that male or female?
Female. So yeah. But yeah, that was my Penny's first time at a conference and pissed somebody off. So you know, I've learned to be a little more laid back at these things since then.
There you go.
But it's kind of a learning curve, and yeah. This one of the things that people who we had another interview scheduled, and that didn't work out. And I had a whole bunch of people contact me with questions afterwards. And they were mostly related to the photos that you had bogarted.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Do
you want to get rid of those questions right fast and we'll just rip right through them?
I can't remember the details, but the basic thing was, how did you pull it off?
How did I what?
How did you pull it off? Take just.
Okay. Well, I was part of the crew and the team with Grumman that we tested the lunar module in vacuum chamber B at the Johnson Space Center there just south of Houston, Texas. And so once we actually put the first lunar module into Earth orbit, just before we actually flew to the moon with them, once we had proven that it was safe and able to go and we were getting all set to go to Apollo 11, actually, I flew from Houston to New York City to where my ex-wife's family lived there right outside of New Jersey, and talk about too many humans anyway. Having had the experience of testing the spacecraft, I have over, good grief, I don't know where my spacecraft pilot logbook is handy, over 2,000 hours as a testing the spacecraft in vacuum chambers and being sure that everything was, all of the different procedures had been tested and proven were safe before we had the regular NASA astronauts. So I was a civilian astronaut. That was my job, to test it, be sure it was safe. Then we used the NASA astronauts. Then they got to test a little, and then they wound up going to the moon. Now, I don't know if that gives you the background of how come I knew all of the different astronauts, but I wasn't the guy that landed on the lunar surface with the lunar module.
So how did you end up with all the pictures?
Good question. Once we finished testing at Chamber B, and I then went over to the Lunar Receiving Laboratory so I could work with the crew when they came back, and it was no longer with Grumman. I was switched over to ILC. ILC. It was a private company, which then operated the Lunar Receiving Laboratory and maintained all of the records. My job then was, I became the director of the Data and Photo Control Department. Data and Photo Control Department. Okay, that meant that everything they brought back from the moon in the missions came inside a confined building and a branch within the building that had all the air and environment and everything else was tested, and be sure that no air escaped out of there until we proved that there was no viruses, anything coming back from the moon.
Okay.
And so I didn't miss a heartbeat. When we went to Apollo 11 to the moon, I went with my wife to New York, New Jersey, have to speak with a New York accent, and meet her parents. And though we'd been married long enough, had 3 children, I guess, something like that. Anyway, so by me having moved into the Lunar Receiving Laboratory and setting up the Data and Photo Control Department, this meant that I had access to all of the data and photos that came back from each mission. And then as scientists around the world, which were cleared to get copies or samples of lunar surface materials and things, as well as all of the communications between Earth and the spacecraft and the astronauts as they go, I had access to all of that information. And I did my best to send it out to scientists around the world when they requested. Whatever they requested, I cleared, and that's where we went. All right. So I was in the middle of it, in front of it, under it, behind it.
That was your job.
That was my job.
Okay. So.
Oh, you're going to run into people like James Oberg. Never mind. I don't want to talk about James.
I got a question now.
I'm ready.
With your knowledge of space and all that you've done, did you come across the works of Dr. Gil Levine?
Dr. Joe Levine?
Gil Levine, the labor release model that he did for Mars.
The name rings a bell, but I don't have any memory going right now. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
Darn
Continue, Penny. I was just wondering.
Nice try. Nice try.
Okay. So what was the reason that you started taking caches of photographs home?
Oh, caches.
Cache.
That's a term.
CACHES.
Well,
Or a stash.
I had in my lab at the Lunar Receiving Laboratory the original copies of the original films, pictures, and material. And I always ordered an extra set to be sure, because there, and I had a good valid reason as the director of the data and photo control department that I would have astronauts, I would have scientists coming in from all around the world that would come in to pick up a portion of the samples they were supposed to take back and do their analysis of, and they would want to have copies of the pictures and things. Well, so when I would have the extra pictures and all these things, I didn't want to just throw them in the trash. I just took them home and put them in my stash. So that's how I wound up with, how I wound up with my data and photo control department material. I had my copies of all of the stuff that we put together to give to the scientists and engineers and people around the world. And that became Ken's little, and I got, well, tested is a term. And so long as the question was asked correctly, my answer was, no, we had those here at our laboratory. Yes, those were still at the laboratory. The ones I took home went home with me, but that's beside the point. I can say that now. Okay.
Okay.
Was that the answer you wanted? You're not going to get me shot, I hope. Go ahead. It's too late now.
I'm not planning to get you shot, and I'm not planning to embarrass you.
I'm not embarrassed.
What I'm trying to find out is, was there like an event that happened that you decided to take these home, or was this like standard practice?
It's actually a little bit of both, because to start off with, it was everything was strictly by the book, exactly what we wanted, exactly when we got it out, and sending it exactly where it was supposed to go. And then we got a little tripped up here and there. Well, no, this person doesn't get that. Be sure you cover that up, to where all of a sudden that I had to get extra copies of that so that I could keep it back in my collection, my private collection.
Okay.
And that is what how I wound up with so much material. I was able to prove later on whether that was true or not, whether it was for real or not. Did we really go there? One of the first things I had people say, well, can you prove we really went to the moon? I mean, we really didn't go there. I said, yes, we did. And I can show you pictures and show you how close we are and how we got off and go right along. Even a few of the 16 millimeter film that we took by our video cameras back then, not video cameras, those were actually film cameras that we took. Each one of the astronauts, you ever seen the astronauts' photographs? I don't know if you can see, right on their chest was a camera that we mounted right on the front of our chest, so that wherever we went on the moon, this camera was filming. Okay. And those aren't necessarily the pictures that made it out to the public.
Probably not. So we're at about our halfway point now. And so I'm going to ask, what was in those pictures that they didn't want the public to see?
What was the what? I'm sorry,
too many years. What was in the pictures that they didn't want the public to see?
Okay, I have pictures. Because we kept remember Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Jack Swigert, Neil Armstrong, and anyway, the one that stayed in orbit. All right, they were taking pictures and things of the moon as they orbited around, while our crew was on the lunar surface picking up rocks and samples and this and that, and being sure that the command module still operating safely, so that once it was time to leave the lunar surface, come up rendezvous, get inside the command module, leave the lunar module to crash into the lunar surface, and then fly the command module back to the Earth. Okay. Now, I got so carried away, I forgot to see exactly what your question was. Kind of proof of what did you want to have me say? I'm sorry.
I wanted to know what was in the pictures that they didn't want us to see.
Okay. There were pictures, particularly of one of them that a craft was landed on the rim of a rather large crater. Oh gosh, I wish I could remember the name of the crater. It was coming up from the backside of the moon, just before you hit, just right at the area where you hit. People have to understand the moon rotates, it turns just like the Earth turns day and night. It rotates and turns at the same orbit. It takes a complete orbit all the way around the Earth for it to make one complete revolution to turn. Okay.
Yeah.
So the pictures there, I went and got all carried away. The pictures that I had, the film, coming up from the backside of the moon, close to the terminator between the backside dark and the front side light from the Earth. There were pictures of landing sites of large spacecraft that were actually in some of the pictures. Okay. That's a hard way to answer your question, but I want to give a little background. So yes, we did find we were being watched by them.
Okay. Did you get any pictures of them?
That's a good question.
Or just their ships?
I would have, I know I have one picture or two that actually shows the craft landed at, I don't know if I get up my hands for it. When you have a crater, you have a deep area. Okay. And I have at least the pictures, still do, pictures close to the edge going up into the steep side of where the crater was impacted to where there was crafts landed there. And even a dome. One of them I have is actually a dome, living quarters, or we're going to call it that, or a base. Yeah.
Okay.
And this was on the back side of the moon at the terminator on the edge. In other words, if you were on the top side of the crater, you could actually see the Earth. You get down inside of the crater, you can't see the Earth because you're on the back side.
Okay.
Okay.
So you saw the dome of the base in one of the photos.
Yeah, I'm calling it a base. I wouldn't know because I wasn't there personally, but I know what a dome, because we created our own, particularly on Mars and stuff, that we could have, or they could have an atmosphere inside of the dome area. In order to get in and out, you have to go through a pressure chamber so that you establish the amount of air you need to breathe, as also the amount of pressure so that your blood doesn't turn into boiling and stuff. All of those things were taken care of. And those were not ours back then.
Okay.
A long time ago. Okay. I don't know if that answered the question.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the information out to the audience. So I know you have a lot of these photos in your book. So if you have a copy of your book, you can hold up so people can see the title. Otherwise, I have a photo I can attach to this.
Well, right now, or I'd have to get up and go into my files here and find it. If you've got it handy, it'd be quicker. Be a lot quicker.
Okay. Yeah, I can add that in.
I love the background you have of the Earth, and I've got to get a copy of that. That picture's great.
That's part of the Zoom. It's one of the backgrounds that you can download. Yeah.
My, have we come a long ways? We've come a long ways since we went to the moon.
We have come a long ways, even in on some of these things, even in the last 10 years.
Yes, agreed.
So I'm at this stage of I'm having to run as fast as I can just to keep up with the kids. So
okay. Well, I hope I'm still one of the kids. I'm not, but
Daryl,
you be the teacher. You be the teacher. I'll be a kid. Go ahead.
I've been doing a lot of counseling and among our community of whistleblowers, they've taken up calling me mama. And I'm like, when did I become everybody's mom?
Does that mean I become Papa?
I don't know. But yeah, damn, I'm coming across scatterbrained. Okay.
It happens. We were on the lunar surface.
You were on the lunar surface, or actually you weren't. The photographs were from the lunar surface.
Right.
Right. And
correct.
The photographs showed some of these ships that were not ours, and
correct.
showed a dome, presumably a base.
Correct.
That was a living quarters for these folks. I tend to call the others people.
I would, yep. Good.
That, from my experience, if it's intelligent and it's in a physical body, you treat it like it's a person.
Absolutely.
That's just basic respect. And if you don't, they make a point of telling you. So, and people may not look human at all. There have been some cultures I've interacted with that look more like fluids in a bucket, but if they're capable of communication, you treat them like they're people.
Okay.
Now, in the photographs that you have, do they show more than one type of being out there?
I think the honest, correct answer on that is there were no pictures of other beings. Craft on the rim of some of the craters, large craters, those we could see. Okay. As far as who was inside the craft, maintaining it and flying it and observing what we were doing, was not available in any of the pictures that I have or that we had back in those days. So, but we Earthlings have come a long way since then, and you get into Roswell and you get into some of the bases and things like that. So, but back then this was all new, and so did not have direct contact.
Okay. Well, we had visual contact, but not interaction.
There you go.
There you go. How we kind of define it these days. So I guess there's 5 levels of interaction that they're talking about these days. So this was the stage you can see the ship, you can see their base, but you're not seeing them.
That's correct.
So
that's correct. They could see us.
They were probably concerned about us being there, but that's okay.
Maybe they're watching this TV to be sure I'm not saying too much. We'll go from there. I'm sorry. Gotta keep your attitude. Okay.
My attitude is more or less, I don't want to get anybody killed.
No.
I'd like to get a popularized version of your testimony out there.
Yes.
And for it to be as truthful as possible and have fun while we're doing it.
We're at the point right now where our government wants to get the truth out, and now people like myself that are still alive, how many there are able to come forward now and present their part of the whole picture that we were involved in, to the point that it's going to help Homo sapiens earthlings to be able to handle the fact that we are not the only intelligent species in the universe. And
No,
as soon as we get to that point, and then we might have to get into the religious side of things, because I mean, at one point I was in training to be a full-fledged Baptist minister. So I have the background in theology and who we are, what we are, and where we're at. Okay. So,
I was a lay reader in the Episcopal Church.
Okay. So you've been down that road too.
I've also been down that road. And because I had altars as the result of my Black Ops training, I was eventually excommunicated because most Christians consider altars to be demonic possession rather than scars from trauma.
Mm.
And so it was a situation where that I was forced to leave and forced to reevaluate everything that I believed. And I ended up, my mystic tendencies took over, and I have a very different idea of what's going on out there in a religious sense than most people, even in the community.
Right.
So we have
it's a phase. Yeah. It's a phase we all have to go through.
We have a lot of people in the community who want to make everything all sunshine and unicorn farts. And my awareness of 3D is that there's balance, that it's not all black or white, that there's balance between the two, and that if you don't take that into account, you're very likely going to find yourself in trouble.
That could be. We are, though, at a point where it's safe for those of us that are still around to come forward with our share of facts, what's true and what's not. And I think it's our responsibility to
well, I hope it's safe for you. So
thank you.
We need this information out and not lost, and we need for the public to be aware that this has been available for some time. I mean, how long has it been since you published your book?
I don't know. I'd have to get it, probably 10 years.
So yeah. So this information has been out for 10 years at least. So
oh, yeah.
You know, I'm hearing a lot of stuff about the videos that are being released now, the TikTok video and some of the other.
There are a lot of videos that that got burned, lost, what have you. Mm-hmm. So you public are not getting 100% of the information. If we're getting 50%, we're going to be doing really good.
My impression is that if we get 10%, we're going to be doing really good.
Yes.
And
you're a little stronger than I am.
I'm looking at some of the stuff that I know took place, and the patents for it are coming out, but they're not admitting that how long they've been doing it.
And we still have people like Mr. Ober goes out and tries to attack us verbally and make all kinds of false accusations about who we are, what we were, what we did, what's true, what's not. I don't even know if he's still alive. I know that he got me arrested in Germany. I guess it was in Germany at the time when I was giving a lecture, and then they had to release me immediately, and then I was able to come back to our side of the planet. But
wow,
he was carrying out his job. His duty is to try to disqualify or to claim that we didn't know what we were talking about. That's not the facts or truth. But you've been involved with people who, like myself, that all we want to do is tell the actual facts, truths. I have records, documents, and proof that I've been able to maintain. A lot of my stuff has been disappeared. I kept everything in vaults and safes with banks, and then since then, so many things has been copied from my files that it wouldn't do them any good to. I was concerned about having my house burned down once, but I had to let it be known that I don't have any of this stuff at my house. It's all in banks. So now we're at a point though where they are supposed to be allowing us, the people, to know the truth that we are not alone in this universe, that there are other intelligent beings, and it's about time that we take our place publicly, worldwide, universal wide, with extraterrestrials. Let's face it, to them, we are extraterrestrials.
Well, I think that it's far past time that common humanity understood that we're not alone.
Yes, we are not alone. That's a good term. I like that. I like that.
We've never been alone. And
no.
We need to grow up as a species and treat each other better and treat the others better than what I anticipate happening.
As earthlings, wouldn't make name difference what race, religion, creed, color, you name it, is we are all earthlings. ET's got those earthlings. Anyway, yeah, we're all intelligent beings, and we need to grow up and act like it. Yeah. Then we can learn. So long as we fight it, we can't learn. We only got to get junk.
Well, I keep getting told, well, if it's not human, it's either an angel or a demon.
Okay, yeah, well, that's their philosophy.
I'm like, okay, so you only believe in spiritual beings, huh? You don't believe in 3D physical beings from off-world. So
now, I might be an alien. They just don't realize that. And you go back and find out what all has happened in my life as a Earth Homo sapiens sapien. The things that have happened step by step throughout my life here. I could well be a branch of extraterrestrials, and I love it. So, how about yourself? Have you been accused of being an alien or a descendant?
I've been accused of all sorts of things.
There you go.
If they can fantasize it in their mind, they've accused me of it. And most of it is not 3D reality based at all.
No, it's just their own personal opinion. And I'm
finding a lot of people live in a fantasy zone, and
absolutely.
They've been imposing that fantasy onto objective reality for their entire lives, and
they've been brainwashed.
Some of them haven't even gotten to the brainwash. They never made enough connection with 3D reality to be brainwashed.
No brain to wash.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. I like that.
It sounds terrible, but you listen to some of the theories these people promote, and it's like,
Insane.
Where have you been? This is not 3D real at all.
No. Well, that's why people like yourself, being able to find people like me and others that experienced this other stuff, that's helping to bring the average earthling up to speed to where, you know, and most of the people, when I give lectures and talks in places, people, they say, well, you know, there's no way that we could be the only intelligent beings in the universe. That's crazy. But back when we went to the moon, the very beginning, they were shocked that we actually could go to another planetoid, in this case our moon, and it's created our society of humans to grow up. We're at a point now where I feel like, oh sure, there are branches of humans and countries and stuff that are primitive, actual primitive, and not everybody's going to be, you know, already intelligent enough to deal with extraterrestrials. So we're at a point now, I think we're ready to go.
I think the folks that are more primitive are actually more likely to accept extraterrestrials.
I never thought of it that way.
Because they're more likely to accept these strangers than someone who thinks they know everything.
The only problem is then they come and they want to worship you because you're part of the aliens, you're part of God. You think?
I think humans have a real problem with worship.
Yeah. That I might have?
I think
them?
Humans have
humans
have a real problem with worship. That
You're absolutely right.
We tend to worship things that we should not. And we tend to, if we don't quite understand it, we put it on a pedestal and then never do understand it, because then it's too holy to interact with.
Agreed. I totally agree. You've come a long way yourself, and so have I, because
you remember how I was at first. I was like too scared to talk.
Oh, I even went down the road and became an ordained minister. So I've and that's great. That's wonderful. It's no problem, because it gives me a good handle on understanding how people react, how people feel, what they're willing to accept, our position in the universe. And if they want to think of deity, God shows it that way. That's why we're coming forward now and becoming wise enough to deal with the fact that we are not alone.
Well, I mean, they should look in the Bible. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
There's lots of things described that are not human, but are still real.
That's right. Amen. That's the way you answer. Amen. I'm with you.
I mean, you know, I think of it in terms of, you know, we've got bears and lions and tigers. Why can't we have greys and insectoids and reptilians? I mean,
now I've never met an insectoid personally that I can remember.
I did on Mars, but that's a story of its own.
That's where I was going to go to next, is that there are blanks. There are blanks in my memories where I was at a certain location, and we've discovered that we were in contact. And then later, when I regained my conscience where I was, that I had been involved with extraterrestrials, if you want to call it that.
So have you had regression hypnosis to recover?
Oh yeah, no questions about that. So that plus the fact I learned to become a good quality hypnotist, because sometimes I have been part of people that wanted to dig into their own memory, and for some reason they blocked it all. most of us that have had direct contact have had our memories blocked up to a point.
Yeah. Mine were behind a code word that a couple of NSA agents used my code word for me to remember. And so it just came back all at once. But
wow, that was hard to handle.
Yeah, it was. That was really hard to handle. It's much better when it eases in on you and you can make sense of it,
right,
and adapt to it. Having it all dumped on me in a big lump was not kind at all. But
not kind.
Not kind at all, no.
The wrong kind.
Yeah, but most of the people don't have the kind of memory recall that I do either, because getting it all in one big lump, I have more detail than most.
But the problem is being able to tap into that to where you can gush out all the other information that goes along with your experience.
Well, I can gush it all out. The trouble is nobody wants to hear it.
Okay, I mean, true. I agree.
This is why I have a show, is because I would go on somebody else's show and they would start talking to me, ask me a couple of basic questions, and 5 minutes in, their eyes are glassy. They're not hearing a damned word I'm saying. And I'm spending the next hour and a half to 2 hours dealing with someone who's no longer there and trying to talk. And they'll finally, 45 minutes to an hour later, ask me a question that goes back to that first 5 minutes, because they haven't heard anything since.
That's the problem. And then they have people that are the debunkers, and I already mentioned the number one debunker, and
well, in any category, you have people who do the work. That's like you and I. And the other way to get famous is to tear down the people that do the work. That's the lazy way. Because all you have to do is say, well, they're lying.
Yep.
And
or they don't know what they're...
You don't have to present anything that way. Just keep repeating, they're lying, they're lying. And a shocking number of people will listen to that.
They're hired to debunk us.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Because, if they can put enough doubt in people's minds, then they won't listen to our testimony, and then they can put out whatever nonsense they want. Oh, there are no ETs? Right. Then what are all these people being kidnapped from our national parks? The only intelligent life on Earth are humans. That's why we have we have Sasquatch, Yeti, whatever else you want to call them. That's why the sightings, that's why you have gray sightings, that's why you have people talking about being abducted by reptilians, is because there's nobody here but us. Right.
And if that's what they want to believe, or they're getting paid for it.
If that's what they want to believe, they're not going to believe anything else anyway. But if they want to believe the testimony of someone who has been there, done that, and they're a little bit iffy about whether this is true or not, and then some asshole comes through and says, they're lying.
That's all they have to say. They can't prove it.
They can't prove it. And at least you have photographs to prove what you're saying.
I'm awfully glad I kept the archive. And I keep the originals are in a bank vault at one of the banks that I keep private. And I have duplicate copies of hundreds of pictures and quite a few 16mm films of the data. So just, 98% of the things that I say I can back up with the documents and proof. Hopefully I won't overstep. And, you know, you cover some of the areas of where we've had to come from. We, Homo sapiens sapiens, to be able to talk about our place in the universe and who we are. And it's about time, if we want to grow as a species, we need to be ready to take our place within the solar galactic intelligence, because there are a lot of wonderful beings, I'll say people, beings out there. And this sooner we can make it more public.
There are a lot of people out there that have their own agendas. And you need to know what that agenda is before you decide to make them your best friend. But that doesn't mean that you should automatically hate them either.
No, being disappointed is not the same thing as hating. Being disappointed in some of these people that are getting paid to do the debunking stuff they do. I quit.
Oh yeah, there's folks out there that there's one particular researcher that has it in for me.
You only have one?
I only have one that talks about me on his show. He doesn't mention me by name, but when he refers to this crazy lady who says she's been to Mars, that's me. And he gets thousands of dollars every show that he does, people donating during the show.
You and I are going to have to talk privately on the phone after this, because they're not paying me anything.
Well, I'm getting to where people are sending me money, but I'm using the money to put together a server to put my archive of testimony on it, because places like YouTube are getting to where that they're deleting all of us. So we have our own. It would be.
Did you say deleting?
Yeah,
you said they're
deleting things.
Channel.
Hey, yeah, there you are. You are listening, aren't you?
I'm always listening. I just don't talk all the time. Ken, I'm gonna tell you, I have a specialized group of individuals. They're special. They've all been deleted, had channels deleted, been 3 strike you out in 1 shot deal, and Penny Bradley is one of them.
Yeah, I
lost the channel for her.
Okay. I also was permabanned off Facebook 2 years ago, but Laura Eisenhower's channel got deleted last night.
Really?
Again?
Again, off of YouTube. So we're talking about some major figures in our community are being randomly picked on by YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. And so my goal is for us to have our own server and put these archives up where the big 3 mass media, cannot take us down.
That's why I had to have duplicates made and put in the originals inside the vaults. I have to throw this in real fast. You mentioned Laura Eisenhower, her mother and father, Dwight D. Eisenhower.
That's her grandfather.
Yes, or her grandfather. Well, he was my father's base commander at Fort Sam Houston, San Antonio, Texas, when I was born back then.
Cool.
And she and I had a lot of conversations about going back to President Eisenhower, and because he's one of the first presidents that was made aware in contact with extraterrestrials and the landings of the craft out in Edwards and other places and things. So I have a fine connection with the Eisenhowers. And Laura is a wonderful person. I've enjoyed being at functions where she has been at. But, you know, all of us, even
I
yourself
like her.
too.
I like her and respect her a lot.
I love my Laura. I love her, especially when we were 13, 14 years old, and I was going to Hardy Middle School, and she would come by with her friends, and we'd all meet up at Pentagon City Mall. Yeah, those are good old days.
One of my best friends' name is Daryl, and
he
and I are great.
No!
We're gonna have to get together sometime.
I've met a lot of good people in radio because they won't allow us on TV. No, they won't put us in. They think we're the fruitcakes, the Looney Tunes, the insane people.
Well,
and when
no,
the theory goes out, but Penny, hold on.
We are the people who are speaking the truth they don't want exposed.
When the conspiracy theory goes out, we're crazy. But when the conspiracy becomes a fact,
they forget all about us.
Then they start to love us again.
Until the next conspiracy comes out. Hey, hold on. So why do you think there's a UFO disclosure when you said years ago that there was no UFOs?
There you go.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Now, you were my friend before that until I said there were UFOs. Now, as a friend, then we broke apart because I said there were UFOs. And now that they say there are UFOs, now you want to be my friend and get information. Screw you. You weren't my friend in the beginning. You were just there hanging on me.
Amen. There you go. And people don't realize what people like yourself and Penny and some of the others of us, we've had to put up with that kind of attacks of us, period.
Oh.
Fortunately,
I had to break loose from my family because their Church of Christ, as Baptist minister, you know what Campbellites are like.
Amen.
And every time that I would hear about something and contact my mama, it would be, you know, you're going to get me arrested. I'm like, Mama, there ain't nothing I'm doing that's going to get you arrested. So
there was a time though when they would have gotten us in an auto accident, or there have been others that have lost their lives that have tried to come forward. And this is one of the reasons why I have always, when I've been on a program, if you have any information, experience that you can add to the fact that we are not alone in the universe, that we have been in contact with extraterrestrials, it does exist, it's coming. Get forward with that information, make it public. Otherwise, you can be bumped off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that has happened. And we've lost 9 people.
I've been in my community where we're talking about service in space. I've been telling people, if you have small children, don't go public. Some of the people in our community have had their children threatened. Okay, if you can't talk about it longer than 5 minutes without crying, don't go public, because you're just going to embarrass yourself. If you can't talk more than 10 minutes about your experience because you don't remember any more than that, why are you going to destroy your whole life for that 10 minutes talking on somebody's interview? There's a lot of pure shit that's done to us. And it's not worth it if you've got little kids in school that are going to be tormented or threatened or otherwise mistreated. You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose custody of your kids. There's no reason to do this. And I've had people in the community that I've told this 6 months later after they went public, tell me, you know, Penny, you were right. But at the time you told me, I thought you were just jealous. No, people, I'm trying to save you pain.
Jealous.
Amen.
Jealous. Penny, well, you should have said, what do I have to be jealous about? I survived.
You look like you were in pain, my man.
Man, I'm living pain. I mean, the stuff that I go through on this network, behind the scenes of everybody, Penny knows 90% of it, 99, because I was talking about it, from being banned here, from the network getting kicked off here because of this kind of person is on. True speakers. I mean, these people have infallible evidence. And
get them to show it.
No, they do show it. That's the thing. I mean, Dr. Paul Cottrell, Rio Zagami.
We've got some great people on this network. We really do. And every time we turn around, it's one of the platforms is giving us hell because we're telling the truth. But it doesn't match the agenda that they're trying to put out. But it's the truth, and we can prove it's the truth.
I can.
I know you do. I know you can. And you can sit back there with a smug on your face like, and you can't do nothing about it.
So the only way you can do that is if you had made some really good copies, and those have been kept in vaults, and or you have other people that have completes. That's Brad.
That word we're not going to speak of. Yeah.
Brad and Karen, them, they have a complete set of all of my archives, and you know, that's just so now people, if you want to get the information, go to them too.
I've lost track of how to get a hold of them. Karen was on my show before I was on this network, and it's been probably 9 months since I've had any contact with her at all. So if you have contact with her, tell her to give me a call.
Told you y'all got to talk after the show, Penny.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Ken, I know you've noticed me and Penny make these silly faces at each other.
Well, I was going to say,
it just busts us each other out, and the show just gets so happy and gleeful. And people don't know whether it's live or memorettes. And the funny thing about it is, all the information is 100% true, going right up under their radar. And most of them have to go back again and re-listen to the show. Try not to look at our faces. Please don't. And please don't subscribe to the channel. Please don't. I don't want to get hit anymore.
They can subscribe to mine.
Yeah, subscribe to Penny's channel. She wants the hits.
Now, Daryl, you have those facial expressions. Oh, you're wonderful, man.
I'm a train. I have a halo. See it?
Yep. I love that hairdo too. Can I borrow some of that hairdo?
Oh, I was trying to get rid of it, but okay.
May I ask what island, planet, colony you live on, where you're at? Well, are we going to run into? What I'm saying is, I hope we get a chance to meet face to face sometime soon.
Oh, we will be meeting face to face, because you know why? We keep it real in this network here, and I definitely keep it 100% real. I had to go pay some visits along the path for people that want to talk about the network and don't want to come forward. They had to come forward. The bottom line is, I will be proud to meet the master. I can't look like, hold on, you can't be the master. You know why? You're the master of the master. So you be the grand master.
Okay.
How did you know?
I didn't know. I was just trying to figure out what planet you were from, because I mean, us Venetians don't know nothing.
Amen.
Oh, that's a Venetian blind. Watch out.
Daryl, you are so full of shit today.
I'm just so happy today.
Good.
I've enjoyed the chance to chat with both of you guys. I knew her from a long time ago, but you've now become one of my friends.
You're my best buddy. Or we can be like,
Penny, you got to jump in here, or we're going to just keep playing around. So jump in, Gary.
We've only got a couple more minutes.
You got overtime. You can have as much fun as you want, Penny. I don't care. I'm really not. I don't care.
I got overtime.
I stuck her, didn't I? Did I just stick her?
We're gonna have to put. Oh my God! Look at those shorts.
Oh no, you didn't.
Oh, we did.
See, I met my other brother.
Amen.
Amen. All right.
Hey.
Anyway, Penny, jump in, Penny. Get it.
Get it.
Jump in what?
Penny, you have been a beautiful blonde.
I used
Don't
to
you do it.
blonde.
Don't you do it.
I
you do it.
Be a blonde.
We both just hold our faces.
Now, Daryl, she can hit the button. We both disappear.
Oh, hold on. You can tell the aliens to beam us up.
I'm figuring out how to do a share screen. Oh, there
What?
it is.
It's the middle button.
The green one.
The bottom.
The bottom.
Of the
That one.
pit.
Okay, share.
She's scaring. Oh, the
That
book.
is
Oh my God.
Ken's book.
Oh.
For radio, the title is Ken's Moon by Dr. Ken Johnston Sr. And it is some of his collection of photographs.
Yep. You can see how young that fellow was back in those days.
Hey, who is that guy?
That's him.
He was a good-looking young man, right?
Yeah, I mean, who was that? I thought I saw him over on an asteroid somewhere.
Okay.
That was you?
Yeah.
I thought that was an alien.
He was dancing on an asteroid about 50 years ago.
Okay. So, I shared the book, and
Well, thank you.
I
That's just one of them.
Yeah, I knew there were more than one, but that was the only one I could find the cover picture for it. So
I want a good picture of your background there and of the Earth's in the space, and that is gorgeous. I love that. That's beautiful.
I'll see if I can download that for you.
Okay.
So.
And one of the moon like that, so I can be sitting on a chair in front on the moon behind me, or spaceship.
Yeah, well, we've been passing around a meme that's a guy in a spacesuit sitting on the moon with a drink, and he's watching the Earth crash into.
I've seen that before.
Oh shit!
A long time ago. Yeah,
Well,
they used to do that. Now, go ahead.
That's been passed around this past week. So.
Ken, I have an important question. I think this is probably the best question that anyone's ever asked you. For every ship, they give it a name. What was the name of the Apollo rockets?
Well, you have two. You have the command module and you have the lunar module. And I would have to get out my flip charts and find, because I didn't pay that much attention to Enterprise, because Enterprise ought to be one of them, because we did after Star Trek. No, I can't off the top of my head. You have to understand something else, and Penny has covered this. I have been messed with to try to erase my memory of a lot of things. That's the reason why I have to sit down at times and go over the archives and go through things and have the opportunity to talk with someone like Penny that can force me to get my brain to work again. There have been times when they've tried to erase what I have experienced, places I've been, and but that's why I kept an archive. That's why I kept the information. So
smart man, because that's what they do. That's exactly what they do. They try to take your memories away so that you cannot speak on a topic, so that the topic will go, as they say in history, censored and missing. And
or worse, so they can discredit you because you appear to have memory issues.
Right, and which you don't.
Absolutely.
Which you don't. He doesn't.
The three of us ever get together someplace soon, all the truth and stuff's going to come out and use it. Woo!
I have the tape recorder.
Yeah,
I saw that big yellow green creature.
Be one of those times the three of us sit around a table and somebody else runs a camera.
That would be fun.
That would be more fun. Thank you. Yeah. Hell yeah. Somebody else can run the camera. Thank you. I like that, Penny.
Yep. Ditto.
That sounds
and bring the cat up behind you.
That's a cool cat. It's behaving.
Look, she's so. Oh, wake up. Say hi.
Oh, wave the tail. That was a hi.
Okay. That was a hi.
There you go. That was good.
Yeah, I've got a couple of cats. They're gray with white tummies.
I have cats that live with dogs.
Oh, I had a Shar-Pei, and his best friend was a Persian, and I had a Mancoon whose best friend was a pug.
Yep.
Weird.
Well, it's like humans. Some people have alien friends.
Hey, my ferret thinks a cat is his mama.
Well, I really like your microphone.
That's probably good with the cat.
No, it's good with the ferret. It's like, yeah, I'm getting closer. I can eat your food, and if you don't feed me, I will eat your leg. Thank you.
Oops. Now, Penny, how come you don't have all these big microphones and look like you're in the theater and all this heavy stuff? I mean,
the day I do that, it'd be the day somebody shoots me. I like to keep myself comfortable and moving.
There you go. Well, I don't even have. All I have is my.
I have a. It's a razor. I forget what brand it is, and it's about this big, and it's got one of those circle lights on it that's just really bright in my face, and that's the camera, and my mic is part of the camera.
There you go. Well, so, I'm just using the microphone on my laptop.
Well, I hear you fine. So my attitude is, as long as it works and it gets the sound out decently, I'm not going to worry about it. Most of my recordings on YouTube, my biggest complaint is that I'm louder than my guest is. But today you're doing fine. So
that's because I have that Marine Corps. Whoops, did I miss something there, Daryl? Did she nail me and I didn't get it?
If so, I didn't get it either.
Look, he slipped that one in real quick. That man has not lost a beat, everybody. And if you think you're going to get his mind, you're not, people. Sorry, government, people, whoever the hell you are, you ain't getting his mind.
Aliens.
No way.
This is good. I've really enjoyed. I didn't know what to expect, Penny, and I certainly didn't expect Daryl. But yeah, there you go.
Hey, we have fun here. Now, what happened last summer? I had somebody that was supposed to interview me, and I showed up. And he informed me, well, we're not going to record today. And I go, why not? And he says, because I'm processing something and it's more important than you are.
Damn.
And wow. I got really upset, and somebody else contacted me, and it was someone that worked with Daryl, and I did their show instead. And at the end of the show, I talked to Daryl about, because I had been obviously upset at the beginning, and we talked about it, and he says, well, I can give you a show. He says, I even have the best time slot open of the whole week, this one, because it's prime time back east. And I said, how much are you going to charge me? And he said, just the iHeart. And because most of them are charging $200 a pop for studio fees, and he's not charging me. So I'm like, cool. And we started.
I gotta say it. I've heard $450. I've heard $450 for 1 month broadcasting on a network in Las Vegas. I can't tell you the name of it, but it's in Vegas. And I could tell you that Angel Espino knows the person because they stole it, the idea, and created a station off of his platform creation.
So now that's in Las Vegas. I mean, did you say Vegas?
Yeah, Las Vegas. You know that station out there that thinks it's real.
I think we're running out of time.
The person who was dissing me was in Australia. It wasn't anyone in the United States. So I was pretty upset, and Daryl offered me a show on his network, and I've been here ever since. I mean, I'm not stupid. I know when I'm being offered a good deal.
It's the great Penny Bradley. Why not?
Thank you.
This is then I've been a part of the deal.
Yep. And I'm very glad you came. And if you want to tell people where they can find your books.
Mars1astronaut.com. Go on the computer, the internet, go to mars1astronaut.com, and that should lead you over. You can get into the books that I've published, and that helps pay our expenses when we go to some of these conferences, to be able to tell other people, let them that want to come and see and be a part of it. So, yeah.
Awesome. Oh, the public needs to know these speakers do not get paid at conferences. We pay for this out of our own pockets or from donations from the public. So if you want to attend a conference and hear good speakers, support them.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, no one paid for my soda pop I was drinking while we were.
Lou paid for my coffee.
There you go. There you go.
So,
well, no, that's and if they want to contact me at the Mars1astronaut@gmail.com, I'll do my best to respond and answer. I've had people from all over the world contact me, and started a little communications for a little while. Some of them I know are part of the the ones that are trying to track us, but most people are really honest people, and I like people, real people.
I like real people too. That's part of why I don't worry about whether we cuss or not on the show, because sometimes you just get too upset to keep it clean.
Yeah, well, like I told you, I'm going to use this name again because people do it. I mean, James Oberg has gone after me so many times, and every time he goes after me with this isn't true, this isn't true, and everything, I used to get real upset, and I would post the data, the documents, the records, and prove that he's the one that's.
Yeah.
Never mind. And now I don't even worry about it. I poop. If somebody wants to disbelieve facts and truth, that's their privilege. Yep. Those that want to do the research and find out what really happened, when, and who was there, then go to the source. That's some of us, yourself included.
Thank you. And I'm glad you decided to come along today. And I think we've had a wonderful time.
It's been fun. I've enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Keep me informed, Daryl, both of you guys. Let me know if, what, when, and where, and we'll try to make it happen.
It was great to be with you, my brother. Beam us up.
I am one of your alien brothers, my man.